Ladies, gamers and gentlemen, welcome to BelleNOiR TV's YouTube Starcraft 2 cast. My name is BelleNOiR and we have another game for you. This time it is going to be a Terran versus a Protoss. Now this could be a ladder game, this could be a tournament game, I'm not entirely sure, as I don't know from whence this replay came. But let us introduce the players while we start the game up. In the top right location on Overgrowth, we are going to have from Team Millennium the red Terran player Dayshi, or Dayshi. And his opponent is going to be the blue Protoss player hailing from Team Red Blood. It is SpaceMarine in blue colors. The map, of course, as mentioned already, is going to be Overgrowth. I don't know the source of this replay, as I said. This could be a ladder game, it could be a tournament game. The one who sent me this replay was SpaceMarine himself, so thank you very much, mate. You make StarCraft possible, and you're supporting esports. Hashtag kappa kappa kappa. No, really, thanks very much. Without the replays, there would be no casts, and we all would have to rely on VODs and live tournament broadcasts to see StarCraft matches and get our StarCraft 2 fix for the day. SpaceMarine, very interestingly, is scouting with his first with the probe. Some Protoss players opt not to scout at all, and we can see already that SpaceMarine is not one of those guys. He will see the barracks finish just on time, so he can rule out the possibility of gas first. But he did click on the refinery anyways, just to see the gas count, just to be sure that the gas did not go down before the barracks. And leaves just before the potential Marine could be out. Of course, we have a Reaper in production, so it's going to be a Reaper opening here from Dayshi. SpaceMarine probably looking for SCVs that could potentially block the expansion with an engineering bay or a supply depot. And is going to continue on with Warp Gate Mothership Core. There we go. And later on he will probably add on a Stalker as well. Meanwhile, while the Reaper approaches the Protoss base, scouting for the expansion, SpaceMarine is going to make sure that the natural has gone down and no strong aggression will be coming his way in the foreseeable future. Reaper does get a nice scout, does see the second gas building, does get a read on the number of pylons, sees the third pylon, so as well Dayshi can rule out the possibility of a proxy Stargate or proxy DTs hidden somewhere on the top of the ramp. A little bit of harassment here by SpaceMarine, forcing this SCV to back off just for a little while, but the Reaper is onto the probe, is going to take care of that business. And we do have a Twilight Council going down, but it's inside the main base of SpaceMarine. And given the fact that all of these buildings are pretty much clumped up, one good scan could reveal his plans. Now this could be Blink, this could be DTs. We'll have to see which way SpaceMarine decides to go. Meanwhile, Dayshi just adding on his additional barracks. Here comes the tech lab for the future stim upgrade, and we'll probably get either concussive shells or combat shields out of the second one. And there's the blinks. SpaceMarine, Dayshi did try to scout that out. Ooh, but he does not see the Twilight Council. He tried to scan here for maybe potentially a robo facility, but completely missed the building. And now the robo goes down, so this may be a two-base blink attack. We'll see how many gateways SpaceMarine decides to add on later before the attack is just about to commence. So far it's going to be 3 gates, so that's 4 gates in total. Is he going to add on any more? We don't know. Probably not. Now to see, meanwhile, these two Stalkers are trying to catch as many SCVs as possible. Concussive Shell's almost done, and Space Marine retreats very prudently there to avoid any of the Stalkers being caught by the concussive blast and thus killed. Blink is still not done, so Space Marine has to be a little bit careful with those Stalkers. Just testing the waters, scouting what kind of an army his opponent has. Dayshi is moving out on the map, but there's a pylon over here. If he's caught with his pants down, with his army all the way across. And look at this, Space Marine did see that army, I think, with the probe, so he's going to play defensively for a little while with these two Stalkers, maybe a couple Warpins back home. He has a sentry, an additional Stalker, Mothership Core with enough energy for potentially 2 photon overcharges, which means the rest of the Warpins could come at the front lines, but no. Space Marine going to be playing this very safely, activates the photon overcharge, forces Dayshi back, and with the blink just about to finish, once the blink finishes, he can actually chase these units. If he wins the battle, of course. There comes the defensive blink back. One Stalker gets target fired down, second one goes down, but no, second one actually survives. And now with that Immortal, Space Marine can go forward. He warps in immediately at the front pylon. He's going to try and bring down this bunker, if it even finishes on time. Here come more Stalkers catching these Marauders off. Defensive blink back, has to move even further back, but here comes the second part of the army. Once those rendezvous together, this could be very, very, very difficult. There's only one bunker over here, no bunkers on the high ground, and no medevacs neither. So Space Marine in a prime position to take this game, sends the Immortal forward. That was a big mistake. Will lose it pretty much for free, but he's getting the third base up. So far, he's going to keep Dayshi in his base until he has medevacs out. But even then, his army is not that big to be able to load up a medevac and drop Space Marine all the way across. He doesn't know how many gates the Protoss player has behind this, so it would be a little bit risky to try and load up a medevac for a drop while you need every bit of your army to defend. The 5 Stalkers will probably blink into the high ground, into the main base to try and snipe some SCVs. Yes, they do. Oh, this could be a huge pickup. Getting that reactor, limiting the number of medevacs that Dayshi will be able to produce. So far, Space Marine is playing this quite well, trying to split Dayshi's army apart. The third base does finish, and Colossus production begins. No upgrades on the ground army so far in terms of attack and armor upgrades, because we have no forges. But we have Blink, we will have Colossi, and Dayshi will have to, without that reactor, his Viking production and medevac production will be a lot slower, so he'll have to rely on the beefy ground army to make something happen. He even manages to produce a couple of Hellions. They will no doubt go ahead and scout. If a third base is there, yes, the rally point points to this location, and Space Marine is adding on 4 more gateways. He is going to have a sizable gateway force, to say the least. Colossi will be supported by 8 Blink Stalkers being warped in at a time. That is a huge number of Blink Stalkers. We also have 2 Immortals with this army, so wow, that's a pretty potent force. Space Marine, all he has to do is hold on to that third base. He knows he is 1 base ahead. He is even ahead in supply as of now. Number of Vikings, 0 out on the field. Number of Colossi, 2. Third one is in production. And Dayshi does the most sensible thing that he could. He will try to split the Protoss army apart, but I think this was seen with the probe over there. He could get this Robo Support Bay, however, and he does. At the same time, a smaller group of units tries to make their way to the third base, but there are Protoss units standing in their way. The big drop in the main base has been cleaned up, and the medevacs do get taken out as well. So far, Space Marine playing this nicely. And Dayshi, well, he may have lost a little bit too much during that attack. Look at this. Those 3 Colossi are still standing. The army supply is not looking that hot for Dayshi right now, and well, the Marauder has to make a run for it. Usually it's the ghosts that say it's getting too hot, but this time around I think it was the Marauders who thought the situation is very tough to handle. Upgrade-wise, we are looking at a 1-1 from the Terran side, but is it going to matter? I don't know. There's only 1 bunker over here. How many Vikings do we have overhead? 5? Well, with this many Blink Stalkers, I don't think it's going to matter. Those Vikings are probably going to get targeted down, as well as the Colossi. 1 Colossus falls. Still 2 are remaining. The second one gets focus fire down and falls, but the Vikings are falling from the skies as well. The third Colossus falls, and it's just the Blink Stalkers. Nice blink onto the high ground, completely avoiding the SCVs and the remainder of the army. Now, can SpaceMarine finish off what he'd started? Probably not at this point. Huge warping of Stalkers. We'll see if he tries to go for the push or if he plays it safe and just tries to macro up a little bit more. Yes, he does. He adds on yet 4 more gateways. That will bring his count all the way up to 12. He's getting charged for his Zealots. No Temple Archives. Oh, we do have Temple Archives out on the field already, so SpaceMarine probably going to go into Storm, as Dayshi desperately will try to play catch-up and establish the 3rd base. He does have the 3rd command center finished, but I don't think that SpaceMarine will give him the chance to land that over there. It's still going to take quite some time until it gets over to the 3rd base location. We have the Storm on the way for SpaceMarine. Still no upgrades. This is fascinating. No Forge, which you usually see after a successful attack, or generally in the mid to late game being added on by the Protoss players. But no, SpaceMarine just kind of decides that he's going to go with the numbers, try to overwhelm Dayshi with quantity instead of quality. Now Dayshi, he is pretty battered. He does have a nice standing army on the ground, but I don't know how he's going to cope with the High Templars that are going to be on the field shortly. I think we already have 6. Storm is just about to finish. These Templars, as a result, will all have energy for Storm, as they have been warped in ahead of time. 4th base at the gold location going down for SpaceMarine. Multiple bunkers being built by Dayshi, and finally a Ghost Academy finishes as well. Here comes Dayshi on the offensive. Needs to wait for the High Templars to catch up. And he's going to go up the ramp. That's very brave to do, considering you don't know where the opponent's army is positioned. I don't think that he knew about this flank from the left side. There go the Storms, however, damaging the army greatly. SpaceMarine, still a lot of Storms available. Dayshi trying to catch him between a rock and a hard place. Is this going to work? For the time being, he has to pull back to the 3rd base. And the bunker is not going to hold neither 1 or 2 more good Storms. If they do go down, it's going to be curtains. Well, that storm was not very accurate, but still a lot of forces remaining here for SpaceMarine, as the army size for Dayshi dwindles down to 40. SpaceMarine doubling his opponent in supply and will be tripling him very, very soon here. Even if he loses all of these units, he's done so much damage and he's got so many reinforcing units on the way. 4th base finished at the gold. And this is just going to be Dayshi's last stand at the natural, as he's losing units after units, even a time warp going down. And you know, SpaceMarine at this point, He's got all the advantages and none of the disadvantages. Still, Dayshi trying to do what he can. Trying to fight at the chokes, pulling the boys. But no! This is going to be it! Fireworks ensuing on Overgrowth, and SpaceMarine is just having a really good time as Dayshi calls GG. Ladies and gamers and gentlemen, if you enjoyed the cast, please don't forget to like, share or subscribe to the channel for more content in the future. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.